Hello everybody! Welcome back to my model railroad. Yes, I know it has been quite a while since my last episode, but that was because my old PC just was not up to the task anymore. So, we are back at it now, but before we get into that, I have a special surprise for you. You might remember in episode 1, we started off at the north end of the route, and that was at Scottsville Railroad Yard, which is adjacent to the small town of Scottsville. Well, I have here in my studio none other than Scott, the Lord Mayor of Scottsville. And we'd like to see if he would like to say hello. Welcome, Your Honor.
Well, thanks for having me. I don't mind taking time out of my schedule to visit the peons and see what they're up to. I'm very happy to do this for those folk that made me who I am and just show a little bit of my excellence to those who need some sunshine on their otherwise cloudy lives. So thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you, I think. Anyway, that was Scott, Lord Mayor of Scottsville. Population 340 people, 10 cats, 10 dogs, and a pet skunk. Now, let's get on with the rest of the video. Today, we are actually going to drive a train. And we're going to do this in a session that I created for the model railroad. So I'm going up to Driver Surveyor tab, click on this, and there we have the model railroad route. Going in the bottom right corner, View Sessions, and here we are, the lumber run session. Now I'm going to go into the edit session mode to give you an idea of what it takes to make a session. Just take a few seconds here. So, and follow my mouse with the fancy yellow ball on the end of it, and we go up to Edit Session. First of all, we're taking a look at the driver setup. I think we've looked at this before. Going to Edit, and these are all the trains that you will see on the route and the instructions for the drivers in those trains. They will go around the route automatically. Now, the next thing is a cinematic camera. When we start up the session, you will see the effects of the cinematic camera. Next, we have a message pop-up. These are quite useful. We use them to create messages that will appear at certain times to give players instructions and information. Below that is a navigation display, and we use these along the route so that we can have little logos that indicate what you should be doing, like proceeding ahead or stopping, that sort of thing. Below that, we have a thing called trigger check. Now, triggers are really useful in trains. We put triggers along the route at places where we want certain actions to be completed, and we use a trigger check rule to process when we actually reach that trigger. And underneath this is several other rules so that when we cross this trigger, two things will happen simultaneously. The message will pop up and the junctions will be changed. And as we go down, you can see the trigger checks are used throughout the whole session. At the bottom, we have end session, which is kind of a fade out type of thing. So we will exit out of here. Now, before we go, just take a look here. That is a trigger. And up here is a track mark. And we use track marks to place the different navigation logos. So we're going to exit out of this. We don't want to save it. And actually, those the triggers and track marks are invisible when we're actually driving. So let's go driving. Click on Drive Session. The first thing we will see is a cinematic camera. And our first pop-up. Your task today is to drive to the forestry area and couple with the log wagons. You will then receive further instructions. Proceed when ready, but you will have to wait about 3 minutes before you leave this yard. And all switches will be set for you. So we can get rid of that. Now, before we do anything, let's just go inside the cab. Now this is a simulation of the actual controls in an engine. I have to say that this is an older engine and the graphics aren't as good as some of the newer ones. So first of all, we have the train brake lever. This is used to control the pneumatic brakes for the whole train, each and every car. Down here is the independent brake lever and that is used for the lever to controls the brake for the engine itself. Here we have a dynamic brake lever, which is similar to the type of braking that you might hear on a truck when they're going down the hill. It uses the engine to slow the vehicle down. Now we have the throttle lever, self-explanatory, and the reverser lever, which we use to put the engine either in forward or reverse motion. So why don't we get going? So we're going to put the reverser lever in forward and turn off the brakes. Now we're going to give 2 honks on the horn, which means that we're proceeding forward, and we're moving the throttle lever to the first notch, and we'll just start going slowly. At the bottom right hand corner you will see a different type of way of controlling within the cab, and that is with sliders, and it also gives you information on the pressure of certain things. So we are now proceeding forward, and I'm going to use the slider to put the throttle in 0, and as we get closer to this navigation point, little slow off the mark there, but we stopped before the red light, and so now we have to wait for the train coming the other way. So while we're doing that, I'm going to the bottom here, and I'm going to change the way of controlling the train. This is like a rheostat, which you will find on a regular model railroad. So much simpler to use. Now up here you'll see these red and green arrows. They indicate the direction that the junction is pointed in, and we can change these manually, or in this program I have actually had the junction set ahead of time. And we also have the lights, the standard lights, and then the smaller yard light. So I'm going to just kind of fast forward time here. And here comes the train coming the other way, the rear rail train. Now when this train reaches a certain point, there's a trigger, and 2 things will happen. First of all, the junctions will change, and you will get a pop-up message. Now when the junctions change and the track is clear, the light will actually change to green, and there we go. This light here, our yard light for our track, has changed to green. Track is clear, so go ahead, and here we go. So 2 hoots on the horn, and we're just going to proceed ahead slowly. We don't really need this anymore. So as we're proceeding, you can see that these junction arrows can be quite distracting. So I'm going to go into our display menu, and here is the one we want. Turn off the junction levers. We're coming up to a level crossing, so we need to just lay on the horn here. See, vehicles are already stopped. And the next place we'll be coming up to is Scott Station. You'll notice that if you put the cursor over top of the junction, the arrows showed up, even though they're hidden. Now down at the bottom here, this is a graphic display of the track ahead. So right here, that little item shows that we got Scottsville Station coming up. These down below are the lights ahead. So we have 2 green lights, and then up ahead there will be a yellow light. At the top is the speed limit that's set. And I have programmed these speed limits into this route. You can see at the bottom here, it says 8/10. That means that you're doing 8 miles an hour, and the speed that I have set for this part of the route is 10 miles an hour. So the speed has changed, so we're going to go speed up, and we're going to fast forward here. Speed actually goes up to 25, but it's going back down, and we can see down here that the speed ahead is 15, so we want to slow down before we get to that point. And this junction is set so that we will use the bypass, and we won't have to worry about the logging wagons until it's time for us to pick them up. Up ahead, you see this is our navigational marker, an arrow straight ahead, and it means that we are cleared navigation-wise anyways to continue. And when we pass the nav marker, it disappears, and then the next one appears. So up ahead, I'm going to slow down a little bit, is a nav marker, and it says stop, then reverse. Speed up a little bit. And when I stop, it disappears, and we have a pop-up message, stop, then reverse, to couple with the log wagons. So I'm just going to take a look behind us here, and you can see that back here is the log wagon that we have to couple with. 3 honks on the horn means we're going in reverse, and I'm going to take another look, different viewpoint. Here we go. Now we're doing 6 miles an hour, and that's a bit too fast for coupling. You don't want to be doing anything more than, say, 3 miles an hour or 4. Otherwise, you take the chance of possibly derailing the train. So, here we go. Just about ready to couple. Just take a second. And there we go. Now we have the sign that pop-up message says, good work, proceed ahead, and down the hill. 2 honks on the horn, and we're going to start on our way down the hill towards the sawmill. As we're picking up speed, there's something I want to check out. If you hover the mouse over a train or even any of the rail stock, and you press Control right mouse, you come up with a menu. Because this is an engine, there's all sorts of instructions here that would allow us to automatically drive the train. Like, for example, if we want to drive it to a certain track mark. But what I want to do this time is take a look at the details. You can see here that it says that this train is 153 meters long with 355 tons in tow. That's a pretty heavy train. And if we were driving in cab mode, we would definitely have to engage the dynamic brake to assist the train brake in maintaining a steady speed down this hill. There are several different cameras in trains. First of all, we know that there is the cab view. We're familiar with that. This is called the chase camera, which we can move around and keep track of the train that way. The next one is called a line side camera. Now these are cameras that I placed around the route to have various interesting viewpoints. And then the last one is called the roaming camera. This detaches the camera from the train and allows you to move your camera around, and you can watch various that's not a good view, various interesting things. I usually use this when I'm driving a complicated session and I want to make sure that the junctions are set properly. As you can see, they're favoring this track here. We don't have to worry about the junctions this time because I have them all preset. So we're going to speed up here a little bit. As we come onto this track, you can see we had a green light, and up ahead is a level crossing, and this is Wilton South Station. So I'm going to honk on the horn. As we come to the level crossing, I can pick up speed a little bit here. It's 15 miles an hour. And we are now passing the train station. You can see the nav marker that tells us that we're going to be bearing off to the right. You can see that we have a green light here, and it has a yellow or orange light on top, which means that the next light will be orange. And here we go. Different viewpoint. Going past the playground, and we're going to maintain 10 miles an hour because the speed up ahead is 10 miles an hour. Coming up to another level crossing. And this track will take us in behind this building to the lumberyard drop-off point. So you can see we're proceeding along. Speed it up a little bit. And we are coming to this track marker here, which says stop to unload. And I think what we're going to do this time, because we don't want this to be too long of a video, is that we are going to end the video here after we've completed the next couple of steps. The message says after you stop, decouple from the log wagons. And over here you can see the logo, nav marker logo for uncoupling. Down below here are a number of different functions, and this one is toggles the uncoupling, and you can see right here we're going to be uncoupling from the train, and that will disappear. And basically we are done with this part of the session. We have more to go, and I hope that you will come back and join me in part 2 of the Model Railroad Lumber Run.